On the day in which Boyd Rankin was brought into the England ODI squad, another tall, quick man, Chris Tremlett, grabbed a fifer for Surrey, even though it's Derbyshire who remain on top of their opponents at the halfway stage of their LV County Championship match in Derby. The home side had excelled on day one and was soon celebrating a first 100 of the season for their captain, Wayne Madsen. He began the second morning on 92 and to his 176th delivery overall, he square drove Xander de Brain for his 11th four to take him to three figures for the first time as a First Division player, having made 3 unconverted 50s already this summer. He looked thrilled with his achievement too, and quite rightly. He hadn't escaped 20 minutes later when he edged Tremlett at a good height through the slips. But other than that, Madsen was dominant in the first hour, which saw his Derbyshire team move on freely from their impressive position overnight of 232 for 2. His longtime partner, Shivnarine Chandapal, who's suffering with a bad cold, had been the more expansive of the two on day one, but now it was Madsen making all the running as the partnership for the third wicket moved on to a record-breaking 265. Surrey had gone 61 overs without a wicket when Stuart Meeker bent his back to force Chandapal into a very rare mistake as he gloved this quick delivery to Ricky Ponting to go for a brilliant 129. He was out at 294 for 3, but Madsen soon had his side beyond 300 for a third batting bonus point. All good news against their fellow First Division strugglers. Wes Durston had to wait for a long time to get to the crease and had then found life rather complicated until he eased his own pressure by driving Gareth Batty over the top. It was Durston's only good shot, however. The second new ball was taken by Batty, and with its fourth delivery, Durston edged Tremlett behind to leave at 320 for 4. Derbyshire had given a debut to 21-year-old Ben Slater from nearby Chesterfield. He was in 20 minutes before lunch and got his championship career moving with a well-timed leg side boundary off Tim Linley. The morning had really belonged to Madsen, however. Just prior to lunch he got to his 150. This was his 4th 100 in 6 matches against Surrey. He made a match-saving 108 at Whitgift School in 2009 and then knocked off 2 centuries in a defeat to this opposition in Chesterfield a year later. This 150 had occupied 249 balls and had contained 17 fours. He would probably like to play against Surrey every week. Both lunchtime batsmen were dismissed shortly after the break. On 7, Slater fell to his first ball, failing to get a stride into this delivery from Tremlett, which he nicked behind. And then in the next over, Madsen's long vigil was ended by Meeker, who got one through the gate to say goodbye to the Derbyshire skipper on a wonderful 152. Madsen was out with his side on 336 for 6, leaving it to David Wainwright and Richard Johnson to bring up the 350, and what turned out to be Derbyshire's last batting point of the innings. These two had plenty of time in the bank to get the maximum quota. Madsen was out in the 88th over, but the play suddenly became rather turgid, with these boundaries the exception rather than the rule. Johnson and Wainwright needed 29 overs in fact to add 59 runs for the 7th wicket. Wainwright was out before tea for an 86-ball 21, and after the break Tim Grunewald joined him back in the shed, but only because of a stunning delivery from Linley, which few batsmen would have been able to defend. Tremlett also found some movement off the pitch to disturb Mark Turner's stumps for the bowler's 4th wicket, which left Derbyshire on 415 for 9. With lots of time left in this match, Madsen batted on, and that allowed last man Mark Footed to show some audacious skills with the bat, and for Johnson to complete his first 50 as a Derbyshire player. Indeed, this was the first time that the keeper had reached the half-century mark in the Championship, his previous best being the 49 he made for Warwickshire last summer against Surrey at Edgbaston. It was a tidy one this, using up 115 deliveries, 6 of which had brought in boundaries. His back foot shots, both the cut and the pull, were a feature of this innings, which continued on. Johnson now had his highest ever first-class score in his sights. That was made on his Warwickshire debut some 5 seasons ago when he hit 72 against the Cambridge Students. He matched that tally this time, but then he edged Tremlett to Gary Wilson to end a last wicket stand of 37, which had carried Derbyshire to a very healthy 452. Tremlett ending with the very pleasing figures of 5 for 95. It was his first 5-wicket haul since June 2011 for England against Sri Lanka, and his first one for the county. So Surrey were now left with 16 overs to survive, but before the first one was completed, there was unconfined joy for the home side as Rory Burns did the extraordinary and was run out in the first over while trying to complete a third run. Madsen's magnificent day was just getting better as he supplied the direct hit after he himself would parry the ball towards the long-on boundary. Good thinking, that. Surrey's attack had rarely got much out of this pitch, but foot it soon was, and he caused even someone with the experience of Vikram Solanki some concern. Indeed, the pitch was beginning to show signs of variable bounce at the end of the day. This delivery from Turner skidded through. So Solanki and Aaron Haranath will have been pleased to get to the pavilion with their wickets still intact. There should be a decent crowd in Derby for the third day. Surrey will resume on 35 for 1, a massive 417 runs behind, which will give Ponting a great chance to make a good impression for his new county. It should be worth watching.